Hello everyone, I'm Timoteo.
And I'm George.
And we are Vintage Doll Hunters! On this channel, we will be sharing and reviewing what we found on our latest vintage doll hunt. Sharing with you our opinions and our knowledge.
We provide you, the audience, quality information based on our 7 years of collecting experience, either from the homes of others or from our own collection.
So join us as we reveal what we found today.
Let's get started. Hi guys, welcome to another episode
Hello.
of Vintage Doll Hunters, Timoteo and George. So today we're probably bringing you the oldest doll we've ever done on our show. She traces back to 1915 and she is the one and only, the redhead, ginger-haired, wonderful doll, Raggedy Ann!
Raggedy Ann. Raggedy Ann is a
Ta-da!
Is a cloth doll.
Yeah, she is a cloth doll. She's from, this one particular right here is from they were made from 1938 to 1940. Yes. And then, so it's an old doll. So far beats out all the rest of our dolls we've done so far. Yeah, she's undoubtedly a big part of American history. Like Tim said, she's a cloth doll. As you can tell, the reason why she's a cloth doll was she's raggedy. She's all made of cloth. Her hair is made out of yarn. The inspiration of the doll came from a long story of Johnny. Wait, what's his last name?
Gruelle.
I was gonna say
Johnny
something
Gruelle
wrong.
Was an illustrator in a old newspaper back in like 1900s, early 1910s.
Yeah, so basically what he had the first Raggedy Ann doll that was in his family and belonged to his sister, and then when
that his mother made
his
out
mother
of rag material, and that's why she's Raggedy Ann.
And so what happened was he held on to the doll, and as he got older and held on to the doll, he
thought it would be nice stories, and that's why he kept the doll, because he thought for some reason, because he was a writer, that it would be something to make.
But that came in later. First was
but that's why
first he gave it to his doll. No. First he gave it to his daughter, and then seeing his daughter play with this doll inspired him to write the stories. That's what was said a lot too about it. There's a lot of perspective. That's an old story, but that's the gist of it. It came from his family because it was a doll he held on to because he wanted to hold on to for stories and to share, and eventually it became his daughter's and inspired him to write, to make the doll, produce the doll, and then make the storybook line. Unfortunately, that was 1915, the doll, and then in 1918
is when the books were published. So he also, with the books, brought out the doll.
Yeah,
that was kind of the marketing tool.
And what was really sad about that year too was that was the year that she passed away.
Yeah,
Marcel. Yeah, so rest in peace. But such a start of a beautiful history of a doll in the beginning. But of course, alongside Raggedy Ann, she had her brother. She had a brother, which is Raggedy Andy. How's the song? It goes, Raggedy Ann, you're so raggedy. Okay, sorry, he has a post on his forehead. But this Raggedy Andy right here, he was a character that was included in the storyline since the beginning of the storybooks. This one particular right here is a Knickerbocker Raggedy Andy. He's was produced in the 1960s, so he's a little bit newer compared to this one right here. You can kind of tell too, because Tim says her hair's not missing, but I do think her hair is missing.
It's natural.
Really?
Also in the 30s, they played around with the facial expressions, a little waviness in the face. This is very, symbolic, like straight-edged eyelash. Just a single eyelash, like back in the day, produced. And you can tell the difference as well is that they have the stitched on shoes. Yeah. Before they used to be painted, and they used to be filled with cotton.
And love and hearts.
And in the 1918s, they actually had a candy heart that would be placed inside each doll, and that's how sometimes you can find out about the vintage dolls. They say that there's stain marks on the chest area of the dolls because the little kids would suck on it because they would actually be candy in there. Yeah. And then they replaced it with cardboard. So cardboard's not the same as we think of it. Cardboard was more like a wooden pressed wood that was really pressed tight that made the first cardboard, and that was what they put inside these dolls. Until it got well into the 1936, I believe, they stopped putting those in, and they started stamping these dolls in the 35 and put "I love you" hearts on them.
It's a cute concept though. That was something interesting learning about him, because I'm not going to mention the other stuffed doll animal does it, but a very popular company does that with their dolls. You put a heart in it, so now we know where it originated from.
And real quick, the doll maker that made these for God, I mean, from 1918 all the way to 1936 was P.F. Voland, I believe, and they made these dolls, I mean, different ways. And the way you can tell just the different ages of these dolls is a lot of these facial expressions that they put on these dolls. The angles from the triangle nose to the outline of the nose to the dots to the squiggly lines and the facial expressions. That was just something they did to just kind of keep up date with these dolls and move them around. And, you know, just new concept on how to make these and produce these a little faster. Like you said, with the sewed-on shoes and everything was no longer painted. You know, after the 1928, I think, era, they started stamping these dolls in factories and kind of making them just more of a produced item. And you know, these were really easy to be produced because they were just cloth and rags.
Basically, but they're nonetheless cute and definitely a big part of American history.
Yeah, and recreated a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, these people really get these patterns and make their own versions of these dolls.
Yeah, as previously as we were showing you in another video in a haul that we did, a find, a hunt. I'm just gonna show them real quick, but we had shown you this was from 1975. This is the posing Raggedy Ann doll. Well, this is not the original clothes because I still haven't been able to find the original clothes, but we did give them some vintage garments, of course, to keep ties. There's another one right behind Tim over there. Just wanted to say hi. Don't forget about me. I insist.
And these dolls were very articulating.
These ones were articulated. They were a bit different in the series and the lines. Again, from 1975. It's very fun because you're able to pose them. That's the whole deal with them. There's a difference between cloth and posable, but they still kept, you know, the same kind of shape.
Well, these were more to take, you know, to bed and play with, and that was the whole concept of this doll was imagination. The way Johnny Gruelle created this doll, made it alongside his storybooks that he made that were very famous. And still are very famous, cartoons, all that good stuff. But the books were the biggest part of these dolls.
Oh my God!
And George actually
look at here.
Quite a few.
There's a few of them right here. These are freaking treasures. I wish I could say the other word alternates to freaking, but these are treasures. Okay, so this first book is the very first in the series that came out. This was actually named after Marcella. His daughter. Oh, now when I say
but a very beautiful
warm feeling. The warm feeling that comes
wonderful.
over me. There's this warm feeling that comes over me when I say that. But this one was dated back from 1930. Again, we're breaking records on Vintage Doll Hunters. 1930. Oh my Jesus. I mean, again, it's full of childhood storybook tales and fun little stories. Like I imagine for you to read to your kids when they're going to bed.
And the binding of the book, one that I know who will appreciate it is my friend Christina, because she works in the book binding business, and she'll say this is a good old timer press. And then look at you real quick, the illustrations. Just came out the inside version of a colored illustrated. Because these were also created by Johnny Gruelle. He was the artist in all of the work with Raggedy Ann. Like I said, he was an illustrator and he knew his way around.
And just a little tip, the way to find out, like maybe if you have a storybook, just the way you find out is there's a Roman numeral on here. And if you know what Roman numerals, if not, you can look it up and like Google it. It'll tell you what the Roman numeral means, and that's what
I didn't know.
That's what I'll tell you the year. Yeah, I'm kind of smart. But here's the first one. Or should I you want to stand them up or okay? Are you sure?
Yeah, I think they.
Okay, so the next one is also from 1930. This one kind of made me laugh. There's a title of it. It's called Raggedy Ann in Cookie Land. It was kind of cute. But this one cookies. From 1930. Well, I like sweets. I like cookies. Yes, I like all that fun stuff. Everything. Here's the better side right here, where it's like more. You can see the illustration.
And it's through the years, and that's what an older book is.
1930. Yep. And let me show you another illustration. Usually, all the books have this type of illustration in the front, which is that they're sitting by a little lake. I think it's a castle in the background, but it's again more storybooks, very cute for your kids.
And lots of stories. I mean, I try to read one of these. They're like 35 pages long. I had to put it down for a couple of hours, and well, I still haven't finished. It's been a week.
So this one right here, this next one right here is Raggedy Ann's Lucky Pennies from 1933. It's still within the 30s, so it's very vintage. Again, we're breaking records here in Vintage Doll Hunters. But let me show you an illustration from in here real quick. Let me get you probably a big one. But again, these are fun. This one is really well kept. Actually, I think this one has a name in it. One of them had Eleanor's name in it. So thank you, Eleanor, for holding on to these. Oh, look again.
We'll take care of it, Eleanor.
The lake. the lake with Raggedy Ann and Andy, and they were brother and sister, by the way, just to let you guys know if you didn't know. Beautiful. I like this one because I like this graphic because there's a black background.
And did you say there was kind of a little different?
Yeah, some people have kind of like looked into this book and analyzed it, considering more like of a darker side of the tales, but maybe that's just all in their head.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's necessarily true or anything. This next one right here is also from the 1930s. This is Raggedy Ann's Fairy Stories, and it says on the front the author Johnny Gruelle. But again, very cute cover, very black graphic cover. I like these kind of like I don't know what you call a style of drawing, but I love that the cartoon, it kind of reflects exactly what the doll's face look. I was gonna say makeup, what the doll's face
the makeup
like.
of the whole situation.
Yeah, very awesome. Again,
it shows the dolls and their fun times.
And in this series, there's 14 books. It tells you in the back all the different titles of all the 14 books. So, let me show you the back real quick. It's the same as the front, but
it's the same as the front.
But it's cute though. I want to show it again. And then this one is the really exciting one. This is gonna give us that mark that we tell everybody, Vintage Doll Hunters, 100 years or older.
100 years.
This is from 1918, you guys. That's why I had the rubber band holding it together, because this girl.
Yeah, that's like an early 2000 rubber band.
This is her support bra right here. But this is Raggedy Ann Stories by Johnny Gruelle, the original. I love it's vastly different already. The illustrations in the front compared to the other books right here. I mean, I opened it earlier and a piece of the binding fell off, and I made sure to stick it back in the book.
Put it right. Put it right back in. I was like, that's vintage. Don't get rid of it. It burns.
I opened the book still. Maybe I should close the book.
Marcella don't like it.
Marcella like put my book down. So quick illustration right here. He's playing with your dolls right here, but let me close it back. It's again 1918, you guys. Oh my God!
Barely holding together.
Get excited. Well, yeah.
Okay. God. Well, see, there you go. Some book binding excerpts will tell you someone messed up right there.
maybe, yeah. I don't know, but awesome right here. Let me put this one right here, and then we got one more thing to show you. Another doll.
Yes.
Another doll to show you. You know, as well with the vintage stuff. People did create a lot of their own dolls. This is a big Raggedy Ann, Raggedy Ann that we have. She's really awesome. She sits in our living room right here, and she's really fun and cute. But you can tell that she's homemade, but very well because of the embroidered face details with the nose. It's not stamped. It's not painted on.
Yeah, they ended up sewing in that "I love you" art on her.
They did a really good job. Really fantastic job.
So I don't know. It could be maybe a factory made because it looks really good still.
But it's really new.
And like I said, people like stole the ideas, made their own clones, and create their own thing. And like I said, why not? She's a beautiful doll. She's part of history. She goes way, way down far the doll line, and we're very happy to share her with you, right, George?
Yeah, we're so happy to have these dolls. To have one of the first books that came out in 1918. I mean, this is again a big part of American history. Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Ann.
Woo! All right, everyone. I think this wraps up this video.
All right, guys. So remember, if you have any vintage dolls up in your attic, down in your basement, or up in your closet, be sure to contact us because we'd love to be able to feature your dolls in our next video. We love working with other vintage doll hunters, and we have a huge passion for collecting and also hunting for vintage dolls. Thank you guys so much for liking and subscribing. Keep telling your friends. I ran into somebody earlier today. I think we're famous. I think we're local famous now.
Hey, I local queen is famous. They watch.
No, someone I didn't know that.
Oh no, we're
Let's end the video. Bye, guys. We're gonna go now.
Thank you. Something's wrong.